Hi, welcome to this episode of Herald Cafe. Today we've got an interesting couple who are the founders of Child's Play Foundation. It's a foundation that empowers the disadvantaged children through music, through classical music. And I'm like fascinated by the fact that they have used music as a tool of transformation and a tool of empowerment for the disadvantaged kids. I would like to hear more about them. Please welcome Chryselle and Dr. Diaz from Child's Play Foundation. Welcome to this show and thank you for your time that you have come here. And I would like to know that over from like 2009, 2010 onwards, you have been working with this disadvantaged children, giving them music education and through them giving them a dignity of their life and empowerment. How did this idea came up about to go towards that?
Yeah. So just to put it very briefly, I'm from this area. I'm just a stone's throw away from here. So I grew up in this area, and my first love was always with music, but I did not know how to take that forward. And this was in the 1970s and 80s. So I got into medicine, became a doctor, but my primary passion was always music. So from there I got an opportunity to go to the UK and work. And I spent a decade there where I immersed myself in music, playing, listening, singing, and doing as much as possible in the world of music. And towards the end of that time, by which time I was married to Chryselle, this idea came to me of basically just, I don't know from how the idea came. I just thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could give these instruments, give musical instruments to the poor children of India and see what happens. The Symphony Orchestra of India had just started, so I was just thinking what potential there must be. And that very year, this was 2007, there happened to be at this great festival in London, the Brahms Festival, two orchestras made up of disadvantaged children. The Soweto Masquerade Ensemble from Johannesburg, South Africa, and the Simon Bolivar Youth Orchestra from Venezuela.
Okay.
So we went to the South African one and we watched the Venezuelan one on TV, and it was truly mind-blowing. So from then on, I think the events things just cascaded, and before we knew it, a year later we were back in Goa trying to start this ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that was in 2008 we came back. 2009 we registered the charity, and in 2010 we began with just one teacher and about 10 to 15 kids. So and now we have grown to a number of about 100 children, and we offer the disciplines of violin, viola, cello, flute, piano, and choir.
Nice. So over all these years, many children you have taught. They're grown up now. I'm sure their bond with the foundation is very strong. Are they helping you expand your musical territory, or like how are they connected with you? Or maybe you can if you can tell us a little bit about Irfan from the first batch, which is your poster boy.
Yes, very much. Maybe Chryselle would like to take.
Yeah, so Irfan has been with us, for example, right from the beginning, from first class onwards, and he picked up the violin instinctively, and for many years he's been with us studying, learning. But as he has grown up, when he started, he was about 9, and now he's about in his early 20s. So his studies have taken prominence also. So he's doing this chartered accountancy course now, and we are very proud of him for having got this far. And he's a determined student, So he's studying, and that takes up a lot of his time. But he still makes the time for music. He's been back to work with us for workshops, for concerts, and he's also one of our part of our trainee teachers program. Where we empower our senior students or children who have been with us for a long time to teach beginners, and we pay them for their time.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is one way of keeping them in music. So instead of looking for a part-time job elsewhere, you stay in music, we pay you for the time that you are there, and you also continue with your own studies.
True. And doing all these, now that you are a registered trust and all, tell us more about that, the organizational aspect of it, if I may ask you.
Yeah, so I always like to joke that, if somebody had told me how much paperwork was involved in running an NGO, I might have thought 10 times before starting one, It's a lot of work, and behind the scenes, there's a lot of paperwork going on, a lot of admin. You've got to keep track of the government regulations, changes in policies. You have to have a very good chartered accountant, that's a must. FCRA, if you're there, again, a lot of paperwork and admin is required to keep things going. But we are blessed to have you know, a good team, and also I would say our donors have been extraordinarily supportive.
Okay.
You know, 95% of our income
Okay.
comes from individual donations,
Okay.
which is I find it. I've been associated with NGOs for a long time, and you know, it's not the norm that
Yes.
everything that individual donors can support a charity, and our work is funded by people, local people, people from around the country, and even some internationally as well.
And a Goan diaspora across the world also.
Some, to
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
extent,
Yeah.
those who are involved in music
Yes.
and
Yeah.
who have some connection, who have seen us on
With
social
Goa.
media, for example,
Mm.
or who come here and they see us performing somewhere.
Hmm.
So those things, you know, a project like this is it inspires the imagination, you know,
True.
because
Yeah.
it can go a long way in changing children's lives.
Yes.
So there are people who are interested in education who sponsor us, or interested in music. So you have different
These two
areas that
areas, yeah.
inspire people.
Yeah. So Chryselle's background in working with charities has held us in very good stead, you know.
I'm sure.
So when she was in Bombay, she was with the Samaritans, and then when she was in England, she worked with the Down Syndrome Research Foundation. So that, I think that has helped a lot with, you know, the whole aspect of creating awareness, publicity, and how to deal with paperwork,
Yeah.
as you were saying.
And to actually manifest the passion that you both have.
So
Yeah.
on my own, that would have been very, very. I
sure,
probably
yeah.
would not have been able to carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another. Speaking of trainee teachers, we also have another girl called Reshma, who's recently also come on board and is teaching the trainee students to learn the flute. So they begin on something called the recorder. So
Okay.
we have her as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and we offer this position to all our to all our students who have reached a certain level and would like to be, and of course, employable age.
Okay.
We offer this to all of them.
Then, Dr. Rez, I would like to come back to you. Like, what are your teaching methods that the students are motivated and inspired all the time, and they be with you for like maybe 5 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
and you mold them? What is that magic that you have to keep them glued?
The magic depends upon the situation. You know, like now, for example, before the pandemic, we had an after-school program, and those kids they were kind of. It was easier for them to come to the class because the class we used to come to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the continuity side of things was easier in that respect. But in terms of methods, I wouldn't like to go into, you know, the violin method or the Suzuki method. The thing is, one needs to have a teacher that is passionate about teaching, and that passion comes across. If you can spark that interest in a child, then that child is hooked.
True.
And there's got to be continuity. So basically, that is the big challenge. We would like to have more and more teachers join us for our future plans. Join us to be able to, so that we can go into further afield beyond the 5 locations that we are in. So right now we are at Santines, Santa Cruz, Bastara,
And
Ukasai.
four.
Yeah, 4 locations. So we would like to go even further and even more disciplines. So I've just mentioned to you the disciplines that we have.
Yes.
I would so love to get into woodwinds and brass.
Okay.
But the constraint that we have is teachers, and we need to have them for a reasonable length of time because instruments cost money.
They do.
So if I have teachers who, let's say I buy 25 trumpets, and a brass teacher comes and then doesn't stay for the long haul,
Yes.
then I'm stuck with 25 trumpets and no one to teach them.
Right,
That is the
right.
issue, you know. So but having said all of that, I think in our how many years, 13 years, 14 years, we have done rather well for ourselves. I think all told, we have touched the lives of about 300,
200, yeah.
300 children odd. Yeah, and the beautiful thing about what we do, if I may say so, is that it is not confined to just the disadvantaged sector.
Okay.
All the musical activities that we do also involve the whole community.
Right.
So we have, my wife will be able to tell you, because she's all the time fielding calls from parents of children who would like to plug into our children's choir, into our children's orchestra, because this is something that not many other people in the what shall I say?
Goa,
They offer, you know. So this is not just the disadvantaged sector, you know. So it ultimately touches all sections of society.
Maybe I can come. Maybe I can ask a question regarding that. Because of their socioeconomic status, is it a hindrance or a advantage? Do you think to teach them people? How do you say?
No, I have not found it to be a hindrance. See,
Okay.
the children are children, they
Right.
pick up an instrument instinctively. These are all our children, whether they come from shelters or from other places from the community,
Okay.
go to local schools, local English medium schools. So language is not an issue. Just a question of having access to a project. That's again continuity, that's for many years you learn something that you're interested in and they pick it up beautifully and they stay with it.
Okay. And you were also you were also doing a training of teachers kind of a thing from the smart musicians that
Yeah,
come up
yeah,
with,
yeah.
right? So that will also help you in getting teachers.
Yeah.
You are creating a bunch of teachers.
So yeah, although we are 14 years old, one way of looking at it is that is we are rather old, but in the longer scheme of things, it is just one generation yet,
Yes.
So what I think the next decade will tell us where we are headed, because these musicians that are growing up now hopefully will plug into society either as teachers with us or beyond. And the objective is not that they should become musicians. They, like I mentioned the man Suzuki, the objective is that you become better human beings, better citizens.
Yes.
Because research has actually shown that if you study, sing or play a musical instrument, you are more likely to vote, you are more likely to be concerned about the environment, you're just more likely to be concerned about your fellow human being. And that is these are the extra musical benefits of music. So it's not just music and playing, it's so much more than that.
It's like an aggregator for empathy in society.
Yes.
right?
Exactly,
Very much.
and harmony in
Yes.
in most senses of the word.
Okay.
Harmony in the musical sense, and also that we listen to each other.
Okay.
In
Yes.
today's society, in today's politics especially, no one is listening to what the other person is saying.
True.
But in music, you have to,
Yeah.
and that hopefully will translate into other parts of our society too.
Yes, yes. It's intangible, but it's very serious.
Very much, yeah.
Now that you're 14, 15 years old now, what are your future plans to expand it nationally, internationally?
Yeah, so basically we have made attempts in the past to have let's say branches in other big cities, but at that time they did not yield fruit. We were too small, I think, with the benefit of hindsight, but we want to strengthen our base here, and basically geography need not be a limitation, because as I was just talking to my wife and she was saying to me is that a teacher can teach wherever they are.
They do.
So they don't have to actually come to our physical office to teach a disadvantaged child. They can teach in the comfort of their own home or their own office or whatever it is. And if they are willing to teach a disadvantaged child, we will finance that class.
Okay.
So in terms of expansion,
Yeah.
I want to increase numbers, we want to reach out to more children, and also the number of instruments that we teach.
Okay.
So we had this idea of starting a brass project, because Goa has this lovely brass tradition and we
course.
want to keep it going.
Yes.
So, but the incentive, these brass projects are happening in villages everywhere around the state. So the idea is that a teacher sitting somewhere in Salseth, for example, doesn't have to come to Panjim to teach. You can teach where you are, and we will, find the child for you. You can find, a local student to teach, and we will pay for the instrument and for any expenses that are involved in the teaching. So that way, people from around the state can plug into what we are doing without having to come to Panjim and waste time traveling.
Yeah. So theoretically that could translate to beyond Goa's borders also. That is the thing. So basically we want to grow in number as well in the disciplines. So I would we have just begun a double bass. I forgot to mention double bass.
Okay.
So we've also got a double bass project. It's very, very brand new. So what we also want to get into woodwinds, that is oboe, clarinet, bassoon instruments. The flute already we have. Then I would like to get into the brass instruments of the orchestra. So that we are looking at trumpets, trombones, and French horns and instruments like that. So that is what we are looking at in the further. So that is our 10-year plan. How the government has 5-year plans. That is our 10-year plan.
Right. And your students have performed all over Goa that I know. Did they perform in other places also?
It's funny. There was an episode once when I was telling our cello children that if I was just to make them, motivate them to practice more, I told them, if you practice hard, I promise you I will get you an audience with the Bollywood star of your choosing. And I just said that for the Bollywood, I just said it. I didn't know where that idea came. And literally a week later, I got a call from Bombay that Coldplay, the band was coming, and they wanted us to open the, to lead, and Amir Khan was going to be there. You know, but sadly they asked us literally 48 hours before the concert, and it was a school month, so it would have been too complicated to get permissions, absence from school and permission from parents and transport, this, that and the other. But it could happen. It could happen.
Coldplay is big.
So
Amir Khan is bigger.
Amir Khan is even bigger for them.
Nice. And any message for the Goan audience from both of you about why you are doing this and how you want to go forward with it, and any
well, one of the things, another thing that we are doing is opening a music library.
Okay.
So the idea is that children, most children in Goa, you just study whatever music you are studying at home, the repertoire, and you play it, but you don't know more about the music world. There's a whole world of classical music out there, composers and the rock stars of classical music. So during the pandemic, we spent 2 years building a library of musical books meant for children. So it talks about all of these people, all of these great works in a friendly, child-friendly way. So that is something that I'm hoping to, open up, inaugurate soon, and hopefully that will be open to the public as well. And then another thing we do is screenings, film screenings, again to bring more children, bring music to children in a more engaging way than just lessons. So there are a lot of exciting things happening, and we just so find us on social media and
and also there's we have begun what we call the Goa Chamber Choir. So adults, young adults above the age of, let's say, 17 or 16, who are able to sing, and of course you've got to audition to join, but if you love to sing and sing fun songs, it doesn't always have to be very, very serious stuff. So you are more than welcome to join us. We just gave our maiden performance at the Christmas concert, so we are looking for singers and enthusiastic and able to sing. Come join us. That's what I have to say.
And this is also similar to Camerata,
Camerata Goa.
Yes, so Camerata Goa is our children's orchestra, not just children now, because we also have adults in them. So we were called Child's Play India, Camerata Child's Play India. So that was too long and complicated a name. So we just recently rebranded to Camerata Goa, which is a bit more inclusive in that sense. And hopefully more young musicians are welcome to join us to play as well.
Yes. I recently interviewed Ashley Dorogo, that violinist, and who was teaching you, and he spoke highly about you. I just think that you put more energy into getting more teachers, like how we wanted it to be, and make it a robust syllabus-wise and outreach-wise also. My last question to both of you, maybe: what are the bottlenecks that you face to do all this?
Actually, if you look at the performance of our children, the academic performance in music of our kids, it has been really quite remarkable given the odds that they face. A lot of these children do not have helicopter parents to make sure that they practice. In the privileged sector, you have all of that. You can have a parent who will say, you've got to practice now at 5 o'clock, and it should happen every day. Parents are out at work. That is the second thing, the first thing. The second thing, they might not really have that milieu, the surrounding background of being music. So they have actually first-time learners. And first-time learners not only in music, but sometimes even in mainstream education. So despite all these odds that they are able to do, this is something that is a recurring refrain of musicians and teachers that come from overseas. They always remark at how quickly our children learn. They say that they learn like sponges. So so despite all the odds, they learn, and the conditions in which some of those children often have to practice are very far removed from the air-conditioned bedroom or sitting room that most middle-class families would otherwise have had. So that is the main thing, and of course bringing children for class. So basically, when a certain after-school project stopped, we have lost some children, not because of the children not wanting to come. the children would like to come for lessons, but the parents are unable to bring them.
There's no access.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Transport
the
is an
transport is
issue.
transport is a big issue. So, and the parents have to take time off work. See, what used to happen in the after-school project? They had to drop off the kids with the instrument in the morning. After school, the teacher would come in. One of our teachers or myself, whatever, we would come and teach them, and then they would go home. So the parent would have to make only 2 trips.
Got it.
Now they have got to make 2 trips for school and 2 trips for the lesson, which is not feasible for a lot a lot of them. You know.
Yes.
So if they move out of area, they don't have a parent who can put them into a car and bring them. So
True.
access is a big issue. So I think these are the issues that we have. You know.
And I'm sure over the years you were learning from your understanding, and you were trying to reduce that, like how you have started after school. I think which is very good that at one point only that
Yeah.
teacher who had to go. And Chryselle, your idea of being the teacher in the place and you gather the student next to them, it can be another good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, so it doesn't. They don't necessarily have to come to the
Yes,
office.
yeah.
It would be lovely if we have a lovely office,
Yes.
which are
Yes,
more
so
than welcome to come.
Like our project is extremely flexible in the model we have, so it's not a very strict that it has to happen at one location or one physical location. We can branch out. We can work with whoever's available, because the idea is to reach as many children as possible. And we are willing to experiment with models to see how that works.
All we are asking is a minimum standard of teaching from the teacher. You know.
Okay.
That's all, and of course a willingness and enthusiasm to teach.
Yes.
And
that's
empathy.
true.
I would like our teachers, that's very important, because we're dealing with children who come from difficult homes,
Yeah, maybe
difficult
some trauma
backgrounds.
also,
Yes.
yes.
So you cannot have the. We have learned that in the heart. You cannot react to children or teach them in the same way that you would teach anybody else. Or you have to keep their background in mind at all times.
True. Yes. Congratulations for the great work you have been doing.
Thank
And
you.
all the best for the
Thank
future. Yeah. Thank you for your time. And
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
all the best wishes for the foundation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.